The rain had not stopped for 2 days. It slicked the asphalt in front of Fairview High School and pooled in the cracked sidewalk by the student parking lot. I was working the evening maintenance shift, mopping the east wing floors and locking up unused classrooms. The building was mostly empty, except for a few teachers grading papers and the theater club rehearsing in the auditorium. At 6:14 in the evening, the intercom system clicked on. No voice came at first, only a faint hiss of static and a long pause. I looked up toward the ceiling speaker above my head, expecting an announcement. Then, a voice I did not recognize, low, almost muttered, slid through the static. "Stay where you are. Lock all doors." This is not a drill. The way he said "not a drill" did not sound like school protocol. It sounded deliberate. I tried my key on the nearest classroom door, but realized with a cold feeling that I was standing in the middle of the long east corridor, the one with no locking doors, until you reached either end. My handheld radio crackled once. I pressed the talk button. "Main office, East Wing. What is going on?" No reply came, only the same soft static. Then came a sound from around the corner. Wet squeaks, shoes on linoleum, slow, deliberate steps. I slipped into a supply closet halfway down the hall. The door barely closed because of the warped frame. Through the narrow sliver of space, I saw him. A man in a gray hooded sweatshirt, the hood up, his head tilted so the overhead fluorescent lights cast his face in shadow. He carried something wrapped in a black garbage bag, roughly the size and shape of a baseball bat. He stopped directly outside the closet. My heart pounded against the mop handle pressed to my chest. He did not look inside, he just stood there, shifting his weight. I could hear water dripping from his sleeve to the floor. Then, softly, he began humming. A slow, tuneless hum, as if he had forgotten I could hear him. From the far end of the hallway, someone called out, "Sir, can I help you?" The voice was female, probably Ms. Kerr from the Social Studies department. Relief nearly escaped my lips. The man's humming stopped. He turned toward the voice and walked slowly in that direction. I stayed frozen until I heard a sharp thud, then nothing. No footsteps, no talking, just the low hum of the old ventilation system. I pushed the door open a crack. The hallway was empty. At the far end, the door to Ms. Kerr's classroom stood slightly ajar. Her papers were still spread across a desk near the doorway. The rolling chair lay tipped on its side. I began backing away. My phone vibrated an incoming text message from an unknown number. "Stay in the closet." No name, no explanation. I turned the screen toward myself in the dim hallway light. Before I could think, another message appeared. "He saw you." The words on my phone burned into my mind. "He saw you." I turned the screen face down and listened. The hallway felt like it had swallowed all sound, the way an empty church does at night. Then, faintly, I caught the squeak of those wet shoes, again closer now, but coming from the opposite end of the corridor where Ms. Kerr's room was. I stepped back into the supply closet, but this time I left the door open a sliver wider so I could see more of the hallway. My breath slowed without me meaning to. The man came into view, walking with that same heavy, deliberate pace. He was alone. No sign of Ms. Kerr. He stopped in the middle of the hallway. Slowly, he turned his head toward the closet, but not directly at me. It was as if he was looking past me, through the wall. Then he tilted his head to the side, listening. From somewhere deep in the building, a metal door slammed. The sound jolted him. He moved quickly now, his wet shoes leaving faint prints on the waxed floor. He passed the closet without looking in, but as he did, I saw the black garbage bag shift slightly. Inside was something long and rigid, with a glint of dull metal through a small tear in the plastic. The second he disappeared around the corner, I slipped out of the closet and moved the other way, toward the maintenance stairwell at the end of the hall. The fluorescent lights flickered above me. My footsteps felt too loud. Halfway down the stairs, I heard the sound again, shoes on wet linoleum, but this time they were coming from below me. He was in the lower hallway, moving toward the base of the stairs. I froze. If I went down, I would run into him. If I went back up, I would be heading toward the same hall he had just walked through. The building's fire alarm box was mounted on the wall right beside me. My fingers hovered over the lever. If I pulled it, the noise would be deafening, but it might draw help, or it might just make him move faster. I pulled it. The instant the alarm screamed through the halls, the sound of running footsteps exploded from below. I bolted up the stairs and into the darkened library, weaving between shelves until I reached the back emergency exit. I pushed against the bar. Nothing. It was chained shut. My phone buzzed again. Same unknown number. Behind you, I spun, heart thundering. At first, I saw only the shapes of bookshelves in the red flashing light from the alarm strobes. Then, between two rows, the gray hood. He was standing still, the black bag now in his hand like a club. He stepped forward. The sound of the alarm masked my footsteps as I darted for the circulation desk. I vaulted over it, sending a chair clattering. My eyes locked on the small door leading to the library office. I dove inside, slammed it shut, and wedged a metal book cart under the handle. The door shook once, twice, under heavy blows, then it stopped. I waited, every muscle locked, as the alarm blared. Minutes later, the sound of other voices filled the hallway. Deep, commanding voices. The thud of boots. Someone yanked the door open. Police. They pulled me out, my legs barely working. They found the black bag on the library floor. Inside was a broken metal pipe and lengths of heavy electrical cord. They never found him.